Studies show that 50% of Americans are single today. Back in the 1950s, that was only 22%. So, what caused this shift? Is being single a good thing or not so good thing? Welcome back to Miss Dre. I have the beautiful and intelligent Kanisha Graham and Katrina Morris joining me again today as we dive into this dynamic topic of living single. Let's get into it, ladies. Welcome back. So, Katrina, what do you think caused that shift?
There's a couple of different factors in that. I want to say standards, number one, and the whole independent woman thing.
Mm-hmm.
We were raised to believe that I have to do it all on my own. I got to do this, I got to do that, and I don't need a man. When in all actuality, we weren't created to not need a man. We were created to need relationship, right? So I think that it has a lot to do with expectations that are sometimes unrealistic. And then also that whole ideal that black women don't need a man because we're strong enough on our own. We need somebody to be able to lean on. We need somebody to be able to be in our corner because we fight just as much as the men do, you know? So I think that a lot of that has to do with the standards and that independent woman.
Right. So what do you think as far as what she's saying about us not needing a man, but back in the day, you heard grandma, auntie saying a piece of man is better than no man. So how do you reflect that?
So totally hearing that and applying that to today's time, I totally would disagree with a piece of man is better than no man. Just because you can do bad all by yourself, and just because you have a piece of man, that don't always make you happy. You're gonna be still searching for some type of fulfillment. So it's like just be patient with the process, and that right man will come along, so you won't have to settle for a piece of man. And I also wish that our ancestors, aunts, uncles, relatives would have encouraged us to pray about it and wait. We pray about certain things, but we don't pray about all things. So I wish in this category, when they mention a piece of man is better than no man, to encourage us to pray about that and to wait on God. And also, while you're waiting, that don't mean sitting back twiddling your thumb. Is it here yet? Is the right one here? But you are, working on you.
Getting yourself together.
What you like, what you, will settle for, what you're not going to settle for. So I feel as though having a piece of man may have worked for grandmama and auntie and
did it really?
But it don't work for me.
Right. No, that's not where we go. And I think, you brought that topic in, just praying. So one of the questions I wanted to ask was, how does your faith walk determine the limits you put on catering to a piece of man or waiting on a good man? How does your faith walk encourage that?
Oh Lord, I guess that one's for me. Okay. So I would say, to piggyback off of what Nisha said about waiting, praying and waiting and preparing. The faith part of it, because I am in that stage of waiting and kind of walking into it at the same time, but I stay focused on the assignment. Because the assignment is to get me together. The assignment is to make sure that I'm healthy and that I'm whole and that I'm not looking for my spouse to fulfill those areas that I didn't have fulfilled growing up. I'm not looking for a father. I'm looking for a husband, for a partner. So I have to make sure that all those things from my childhood and from growing up are not, I want to say, have not infected my entire belief system and what I'm looking for and waiting for in a man, because that really controls your expectations of what it is that you want in a man. I had somebody DM me yesterday on Instagram and ask me if I found a husband yet. I'm not looking for a husband. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and favor with God, and I'm worth finding. Period, point blank. The conversation ended after that because I don't know what they thought I was gonna say, but no woman should be out here looking for a husband.
On the hunt. The
Period.
thirst trap.
That's how we get caught up in these situations where they want us to take care of them.
Yeah.
I'm not taking care of nobody's man.
Right.
We're not doing that.
Right.
And I'm not saying that you got to completely take care of me, but know that I bring something to the table too. You need to bring something to the table just like I bring something to the table.
Right.
And so, yeah.
It's give and take. Like a relationship, it takes time to build. So instead of, like you saying, just on that hunt and you find something that's not worth your time and then you done wasted your time. On the nothing.
Caught up in the wrong thing.
Right.
So shift your focus, ladies. If you're upset, lonely, waiting for a man, looking for a man, stop. Focus on God. Shift your focus. Shift your focus on your business. Whatever it is you're supposed to be doing that you're not doing, that you haven't been working on, go back to those instructions that you were given. Because oftentimes we're all given instructions and we just don't pay them any attention, or we brush them off like, oh, that's not something I'm supposed to be doing. And that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So start building up now so that when that time comes, you're not trying to get ready. Stop talking to all them men now so that when the time comes, you're not telling them, oh, you can't text me no more. I can't talk to you no more. Start doing all that now.
Right. Get you ready.
Right.
So that when the good man comes, then you'll be, he'll be in the place, or you'll be in a place to receive him at the right time.
And if I may say too, because being in that category where faith-based and being single, I've learned that you have to have your own walk when it comes to dating, because for a while I kind of lived off of other people's expectations. You a Christian, you can't do this or you can't do that. And you lived in this bubble. And now at the current age that I am, 33, I had to throw that out there. No, I don't look like it, but that's besides the point. At 33 years old, I should not have been still living behind other people's expectations. I should have been living for myself, doing what makes me happy. So at this age, I have learned to have balance. You have to have balance in everything that you do. So even in my faith walk, if I desire to go on a date with someone, if I desire to go out of town with somebody that I am dating, we can't be, oh, I'm a Christian, I can't do that. Oh, my faith walk won't let me do this or do that. You have to have balance in everything that you do. And so I've discovered that. And so being single, you can still have fun while being single. Just because I'm single, that don't mean I have to just stay in the house and don't do anything, don't have no fun. There's ways that a young woman and a young man can have fun and still have their faith.
Right.
Absolutely.
So one other question I want to know, how do you encourage yourself when you're feeling lonely? So like you're saying, even within your faith walk, you can still have fun with the opposite sex. So what are things that you could do to encourage yourself if you're lonely and you don't have that person to come and fill that space?
For me, I go back to what I'm supposed to be doing. I have to literally shift my focus. And I say that because I do that often. When you start to get lonely, it's because you've taken your focus off of the promiser and it's on the promise. Stop focusing on the promise and start focusing on the promise giver, because if you focus on the promise giver, he'll redirect you and he'll give you those confirmations that you need. He'll replenish you, he'll restore you, he'll give you what you need to continue going. But if you're not giving it to God or putting it at his feet, like, listen, this is how I feel, this is where I'm at, this is what's going on. I would tell y'all, I die at least once a year. And when I say die, I mean like an emotional death, like just crying, but the next morning it's like I rise, like out of the ashes or something. I'm ready to go again. But God will do that for you. But you have to shift your focus from the promise to the promise giver.
Okay.
And I agree. I totally agree. how I handle it though, or been handled it, it's a process. I've never been perfect. Like boom, I got it. I've went through a lot of things. I have my highs and my lows with being single. I have several people that I may call up. I may cry about it. I get over it. But I was having a bad day just a couple of weeks ago, and I just knew when I got home I was gonna cry. But God said, not today, because you got a meal prep. You got the iron clothes. You got the fold clothes.
Too busy.
You got stuff to do. I sat on the
Right.
couch and the spirit was like, you got stuff to do. You are depending on you. You got the meal prep. You got to fold these clothes. You got to press these clothes. I didn't even have time to cry. But when I was driving home, I just knew when I got home, I said, I know I'm going to cry when I get to the house. But that was not even the case. I was just literally too busy to cry. And I was just so thankful for that God was like, not today. Try again tomorrow, devil, but she ain't crying today.
You know what?
So
I'll even go as far as to say that in those spaces, idle mind is a devil's workshop. That is so true, because your thoughts lead to feelings. Your feelings lead to thoughts, and thoughts lead to actions, and it causes you to step out of position or into a position you're not supposed to be too soon. Right? So it's like God took that and He gave you something to do so that your mind wouldn't be idle, so that you wouldn't be lonely and crying and I had a terrible day. Because I get that. I've totally been there. But I promise you, it's when you have those moments that you know that you're in the right, you heading in the right direction, and you're doing the right thing, when the enemy is trying to weigh you down with feelings.
right.
Because that's what he'll do. He'll try to weigh you down with feelings. But it all starts with a thought. That one thought drag all the way over here to this thought, and now you back in 1992 when this dude did that.
Right.
No.
Been past that. Right. Been past that. Wow. Okay. So on to so when that Mr. Right or Mr. Possible comes along, what would you categorize as the perfect date?
Let me tell y'all something. The 30-year-old me would have probably said I wanted to go like on a walk somewhere, like maybe on a Riviera, like a beach or pier or something. But the 42-year-old me, I want to go to the gun range. Teach me how to shoot. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
And me being her 30-something-year-old, I'm gonna say, let us go to the park and have a nice walk. Let's maybe do a picnic. I'm all about just that one-on-one time with that person, that individual, that one-on-one bonding time, getting to know you without the crowd. So I would say a nice walk in the park, followed up with a nice picnic, would kind of be like something that I'm into at this time. Gun range can come, maybe that night, because it's nothing like having a protector. Like I would hope that individual is skilled in that area so that they can teach me, because if we're single, we may not be living together. So he could teach me how to protect myself in his absence.
Gotcha. Look, as a married 40-year-old, I can stay in the house and play Uno. It might not be the perfect day, but just having peace of mind and being able to connect with your mate, it makes a big difference. And being able to have a conversation and talk about something other than what's going on in the house. Let's talk about something that, worldly views, what's going on outside in society. Being able to connect on that different level, it makes a big difference in your relationship, in your marriage, because if I can't talk to you, then what you here for? You taking up my space. I need that oxygen that you taking in. So I need you. So, and I think that's what a lot of single women need to, I guess, think about. Get somebody that builds you, or somebody that you can appreciate. Not somebody that's hanging on you, or you hanging on them. You looking for something from them, or they looking for something from you. Be able to connect on different levels. Like
My husband and I, we can talk about politics. You know, we're talking about the kids. We talk about, you know, just different things that's going on social media. We're not a big, like, oh, we got to follow behind this celebrity, that. Mm-hmm. But just being able to connect makes a big difference in your relationship. Because if you're trying to build a lifelong bond, you got to be able to talk to them. Because it's going to be 6 o'clock and you're going to wake up and like, you got nothing to say? I mean, nothing. But what's for breakfast?
And you know what, too? I want somebody to disagree with me. Don't agree with everything I say. Have a different point of view.
Yes.
Like, it's okay. Challenge me. Make me think about some things. Like, give me a different perspective on something. Like, that, to me, that is, like, that's a turn on to me. Like, if you can challenge me, because I promise you, I have had a lot of men that were not intellectually on my level, right? And so it automatically made me the domineering. I don't want to be the domineering person in the relationship. You got to be smarter than me. At this point in my life, you got to be smarter than me, because if you're not smarter than me, then I'm going to chew you up and spit you out. And that's it. Real quick. Be done with it. And if I see you, I'm not, because I'm not going to speak.
Y'all hear that, fellas?
What up?
Get some business back yourself. Somebody, something. Okay, so on to the opposite. What was the worst date that you had?
I think the worst date that I had, this was the first date. And it's when you meet somebody, you know, it's okay to, at that first date, you sit on this side and that I sit on this side. Mm-hmm. But this person wants to just be all in my space.
All up on you?
Yeah, all up on me. And it is just like, no, man, what we doing? I just met you. You sit over there.
It's the first day.
Sit here.
Right.
Well, in my culture, if I sit close to you, that means I like you. Okay, well, you just met me. I still need you over there. So it's just like from the first date, you can kind of tell that this person is forceful. They can kind of be aggressive. They can be demanding. And so when you are on these first dates, you know, it can be all goo, you know, and all that stuff. If, you know, the energy is good, the chemistry is good between the both of you. But I think also on first dates, you know, pay attention to the signs.
Yeah, because that could lead to a major issue. If you're aggressive on the first day, golly.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
We about to throw some blows.
Right. I'd say my worst date was years ago. This young little African guy. And I met him on the bus going to work one night. Gave him a number. Actually, I didn't give him the right number, but he gave me his number. And so one night I just decided, okay, I want to do something, but I don't want to spend my own money, right? Yep. So I called him like, hey, you want to go eat or something? And he was like, sure, let's go, blah, blah, blah. So he comes to pick me up, and and took me straight to his apartment somewhere in Marietta. And I lived in Ellenwood. And I'm like, we're passing all these places. And I'm like, well, where are we going? We get to this little apartment complex, and I'm like, no, you didn't bring me to your apartment. I thought we were going out. Like, this ain't where I wanted to come. They didn't want to take me home. We was almost about to fight. I wound up having to call my brother to come get me. And it's a good thing my brother knew Atlanta, because I really didn't know Atlanta.
Know where you was.
He knew where I was from where I told him I saw on the way there. He was like, I know exactly where you at. I'd be there in 35 minutes. And sure enough, he came and got me. But that was the worst. I was like, where we going? We passing all these places. And I'm like, oh. No, this ain't what we're doing. Oh, I've been drinking too much. I can't take you home. You ain't drink nothing. I said, okay, it's okay. With that's what I get for not wanting to spend my own money. Because I could have went out by myself.
Look, no, first piece of advice, ladies. Look, don't get in their car. Meet them.
Right. Well, I ain't have a car at the time.
Look, meet them.
I ain't have a car at the time. So,
dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that. Because that could have went whole left.
Yeah.
That could have went left. Like, yeah. Wow.
That was terrible.
Okay, so one thing, so I know you have been in relationships in the past. So what is something that was like a major red flag in the midst of that relationship that was like, okay, we going to the left, we finna start cutting these ties. Like, everything's going good when you first meet or whatever, but what was something that came up, or I guess what was the game changer?
Trust.
Trust that.
I never trusted my ex. Never. I never trusted him. We were great friends. We had fun together, but deep down, I never trusted him. And if I had admitted that earlier, then we probably wouldn't have been in that relationship as long as we were, because I never trusted him. He rode a motorcycle, and I used to be terrified on the motorcycle with him. But I had been on motorcycles before and wasn't afraid, but it was because deep down I just didn't trust him.
Wow.
And I didn't even realize that until after the fact.
Gotcha. Okay.
And my experience with my ex was everything was nice. It was all that I had hoped for, because I was in the church, and it was all that I had hoped for. I was just like, well, thank you, Lord. You have blessed me with this guy. I didn't even ask you how tall I want him to be. I ain't say nothing about his physique, but all that is good to go. And so, you know, the first year was just like awesome. It was amazing. And then all of a sudden, trust issues. Then, you know, they start feeling themselves. And it's just like, you know, oh, well, let's just kind of go with the flow. Go with the flow. Are we in a relationship or not? So it's like we're not just about to start going with the flow.
Right.
So it was really trust. And then once you lose my trust, and I'm always wondering, you know, what you doing, or is he really where he say he is, and all this kind of stuff. That don't work for me, because I could be doing so much more with my time opposed to worrying if you're being faithful to me or not. So when I lose that trust in you, it's probably just best for us to go our separate ways and try to be friends with time after that. But, you know, saying we're in a committed relationship, once the trust has been broken, that is something that's very hard to get back.
Absolutely.
And that makes a big difference. I know when my husband and I, we were dating, and it was like, okay, why you keep checking this? You gotta check that, you know, and then you get a headache. You trying, like you said, you didn't even want to get to that point, but you checking phones, you checking emails, you checking texts, you check back then it was two-way pages, and you know, so it's like you wasting all your energy on that, and it's like, okay, why you can't just, you know, just grow and be me, you know, and build yourself, but you worried about what they doing. But one piece of advice I can say as far as with that, if you're busy building you don't got time to care about what they do. Because what's done in the dark will come to the light.
You better know
And
it.
a woman's intuition is right on spot. So once you feel it, please believe it's about 99% of the time it's done. So just continue to grow you. And you don't even got to hunt for it. It's going to come. And half of the time it's going to fall right in your lap. And you can be like, well, dog, all right, holla. Time to get pushing.
I remember this just like it was yesterday. I worked in a dental field, and I had just got off the phone with my ex. Good conversation, good laughter. Something said, check your email. Well, it's about time to go back to work. Well, okay. I checked my email. Boom. I'm like, I don't recognize that name. Well, let's click it. Could be something important. Could be something, you know, that I need to respond to. So I checked the email, and it was an email that a girl sent me as if they were sending my ex. So like my aunt said, what is done in the dark, it will come to the light. We just had this good conversation, laughing.
Now everything good.
And you thinking everything is good, and then boom, here come a message. Like intended for him, but it's sent to me.
She knew what she was
So,
doing.
you know I ain't about to go to work with the phone in. You know, like, what is this? You know? But like you said, you have to grow though to a point of letting things come to the light.
Yeah.
You know, because
I
in
got
the
one of them
beginning,
emails before.
you got one.
Look, I might have sent one of them.
Sure did.
But yeah, so it's just like what is truly done in the dark, ladies, it will come to the light.
Sure.
So
And
you ain't got to
especially-
fight about it.
If you spending time with God and you have a prayer closet and you pray, and when I tell you, God will show you everything you need to see. It's up to you on whether or not you listen. Because once you show me who you are, I'm going to believe you.
You got
That's
to
true.
believe it. Yeah.
The signs be there. We just ignore them.
Okay, so one thing within different relationships, was there something that you feel like you could have done better, like to maybe grow the relationship, or maybe get to a better understanding of your partner, or anything in that space?
I would have to say, for me, it was understanding that he wasn't responsible for my happiness. That I had to be happy on my own, and that if I had my own thing going on, like if I was building my own maybe business or something, because at the time I was just working full time all the time, wasn't thinking about stepping. I was, but it was just a small thought, because everything I tried to do just didn't work, right? But it just dawned on me that the way I reacted to situations, I reacted to them out of the hurts and the traumas of my past, not of what actually was present. So I had to learn that it wasn't his responsibility to make up for what I had been through. And once I learned that, then it was easier for me to kind of wean myself away from that. So when the time came, it just, for me, even though it hurt, I knew it was the thing to do.
It was time.
Yeah.
Yes. I totally agree. Learning, yourself and what makes, you happy. I can't really cause sometimes in a relationship, you are doing all the right things, and sometimes, unfortunately, that's just not the relationship. And so, I can't never say that it's, I'm gonna say that it's not enough. It's just not, that person is just not the one for you.
Right.
So sometimes, in relationships, like when my past didn't work out, it was just like, I always want to take the blame. So it's like, oh, I could have did this, I could have did this, and it's like, no, stop blaming yourself, because you've done enough. There's nothing wrong with you. So ladies, if you feel like there's something wrong with you because that relationship didn't work out, your current relationship is not working out, it's nothing wrong with you. It's okay every now and then to do a self-evaluation to make sure that it's not you, but don't always be so quick to blame you. So I learned that through relationships to, did I do something wrong? What was going on? Is there a pattern here? Sometimes you will find the pattern in that man. Because you can see that this person has been with that person, skinny person, thick person, pretty person, ugly person, rich person, broke person, and at the end of the day, it's him. Because he ain't settled down with nobody. So it's just, don't be so quick to blame you and try to find out what can you do better. Because sometimes it's that person. It don't have nothing to do with you. So that's what past relationships have taught me. Don't be so quick to, blame yourself.
Right. Okay. So our last question, do you feel pressured to be married at this age or at this stage in your life? Do you feel pressure? Maybe it's coming from just internal beliefs or external beliefs?
I don't feel any pressure. Now, I would like to, just in obedience to my belief. Because I desire to have a family. I prefer things to be done in order. There's really not so much pressure coming from, one way or the other, but just in my space, I desire to be married because I would like to, be fruitful and multiply according to, the word of God.
Okay. No, I don't feel any pressure. And I guess it's because my family is not really, most of the time it's your family that makes you feel pressured, or you got your clock is ticking, your biological clock. I got 4 kids, I ain't worried about all that. But no, I don't feel any pressure to be married at my age, because I want to do it once and I want to do it the right time with the right person. So my prayer has always been, God, send the one you have for me. I don't want the one you got for her. The one that you have for me can handle me, because it takes a lot to handle me. So you got to be able to do that. And even if you get mad, go sleep it off, because we ain't going nowhere. We gonna be doing this to death to part. So let's just wait and let it bake all the way through. Let the cake bake, so that when it's done, it's done. And when it's ready, it's ready.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I thank you all so much for joining me. Ladies, you got the word from these intelligent women who are working on their own, standing on their own, and just waiting on that Boaz to come and provide that support and be a helpmate. So we hope you all learned something and that you can take something from this segment. If you have not yet, please subscribe on YouTube. You can follow me at The Real Miss Dre on Instagram. And we will see you on the next segment. Smooches!
Start Katrina.